Hey y'all, welcome back to A Soulful Tea. And on this episode, I'm going to talk to you all about my experience with dating someone who has a daughter as a childless or child free woman. So, in this video, I'm going to be using the word stepmom. I don't like the word stepmom because of the stigmas behind it. But in reference to myself, when talking about my partner and his daughter, I'm going to use the word stepmom. So I became a stepmom when my partner's daughter was 8. She is currently 10, about to be 11. And when I met my partner, on a dating app. I knew he had a child. I just didn't know that he had a daughter. That didn't turn me off because in that stage of my life, I was just looking to date. I wasn't looking to be in no long-term relationship. It was just getting to know people and filtering out the good versus the bad. But when we met, there was chemistry. Like everything was smooth. The conversation was flowing. We had a lot of commonalities. One of our biggest commonalities that we have is being spiritual. I knew that my last relationship made me realize that I didn't want to be in a relationship with somebody who was highly religious. So we met, we hung out a couple of times, and then eventually I ended up meeting his daughter. That flowed really well, but I still had doubts because I always told myself that I wanted to have my own established family, and I didn't want to be going into somebody else's established family. For numerous reasons. One, I didn't want to have to deal with another woman. Two, there is a lot of difficulty that comes into play when you're raising a child that does not biologically belong to you. A couple of challenges that we had to overcome and that we're currently working through. So the first challenge I had to work through is just feeling like an outsider. I remember there were moments where we would be either going grocery shopping or we would be out at dinner, and I always just felt like an outsider. I felt as if they already had created their connection and I was just like tagging along. And how we work through that feeling of being a third wheel is communication. You probably hear it dozens of times, but communication plays a big role in relationships. When you can communicate about how you feel, about what you're currently going through, it definitely opens up the door to having conversations, meaningful conversations. So for anybody who is stepping into an already created family, continue to have a voice, continue to advocate for yourself, and speak up when you feel out of place, speak up when you feel uncomfortable, and set boundaries. So I always knew that I was not going to lose my voice in this relationship. And when things bother me and I feel some kind of way, I speak up about it. And not only should you speak up about things that are bothering you, but you should also pay very close attention to the person's actions. So when I begin to talk about how I felt like a third wheel or talk about how I feel like I don't fit in with this family, my partner, through his actions, began to do things so that I felt more included. For example, when we go out in public, he makes sure that it's his daughter and I walking in front of him and he's walking behind us, or he makes sure that everybody is aligned. He always checks in on me and makes sure that I'm good, that I don't need anything, just so that I can feel included in the family. The second thing that I am currently still working on is our different parenting styles. We do not parent the same. I don't have any biological children of my own, but I've always worked in education, so I've been around children majority of my life. I have several siblings and several nieces and nephews, And some may still discount or disregard what I'm saying because I don't have children of my own, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to speak my truth anyway. Parenting styles. I am more of a structured parent. I believe that there are just certain things that a child is supposed to know at a certain age, supposed to do without me having to constantly tell them. And his parenting style is more, I would say, passive or permissive. And yeah, it's different. It's definitely different. So his daughter, she would say that I'm strict, and I don't feel that I'm strict. I feel that I am more structured, and I don't like to keep repeating myself. My partner, on the other hand, he is okay with repeating himself numerous times. Um, he is more a lackadaisy, lenient, and I strongly believe that children grow up into adults, and it is our job as parents to be role models for our children, to set the foundation. And yeah, so we definitely have different parenting styles. So in the beginning of our relationship, I used to like give advice. It may have came off as me complaining, but now I literally just sit back, right? If he doesn't ask for my advice, I do not give advice because I realize that reconditioning takes discipline, and reconditioning is not just a one-time thing, it's consistently. And I don't want to feel as if I am parenting a parent. So I've learned to sit back, allow him to be the primary parent, and just mind my own business. So the third thing that I had to work through is feeling like I had to fulfill the shoes of the deceased parent. So my partner's daughter's mom is deceased. And when I first got into this relationship, I tried to do everything that a mother would do because I wanted to fulfill that missing piece to the puzzle. But then I began to reflect, and it also led to burnout. I had to understand that I didn't meet this child when she was a baby. I met this child when she was 8. Everything that she has learned from the time she was born up until 8 years old is conditioning. So I couldn't just come in and try to fulfill shoes that were already fulfilled for 8 years. So I have learned to do what I can do, but don't feel the need to have to always be doing or overextend myself. Because before I came into the picture, the primary parent did majority of the work. So I've learned to be a helper and extend my hand when need be, but don't overly extend myself because that only leads to burnout. So those are some things that I learned, and I'm still learning through this process, through this journey of being in a relationship with a man who has a child. Would I recommend it for my single ladies? I would say that you have to be mentally mature enough to deal with somebody else's child. A lot of people is gonna say no, I wouldn't do it, and that's perfectly fine. What's for you is for you. If I had children of my own, I would tell my children to establish their own families because it's not all bad and it's not all good. And in my case, the good definitely outweighs the bad. But in a lot of people's cases, the reason why I feel like blended families don't work is because there's too many hands in the pot. So my advice would be to do what is best for you. Do not allow other people to pressure you into doing something that you don't want to do. Do not allow people to guilt trip you because they've made choices in their lives and um, they want you to be a part of the choices that they've made and they may not even be happy. Um, Always be willing to communicate. Always be honest with yourself. Understand who you are as a person and enjoy the journey. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Soulful Tea, and I'll talk to you all in the next episode. Peace.